Okay, you might want to write the beginning so that it doesn't.
Happy that is live. Doesn't get all the way yeah. They'll probably, it's just a full probably it's going on. Even though my definitely doing this right now, I'm like, oh, so we're getting commercials. Like most functions. That's the political. I started that.
I got it right now. Okay, really cool is you can allow from like just your favorite people or if somebody owns multiple.
Are we ready, Patty?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will call the meeting to order and we'll start with the flag salute and trustee Harrison is going to lead us. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Fine. Here. Evelyn. Here. Harrison. Here. Me. Here.
Here.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the PCOE PUSD agenda.
So moved. I'll second.
Have a first and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move forward to public input. No action or discussion shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, except that members of the board or the Columbus Unified School District staff may briefly respond to statements that are made or questions posed. There is a 3-minute time limit for each person who is addressing the governing board during public input. Public comments will be honored by participants attending in person or by submitting or emailing written comments. Speaker limit time is 3 minutes. It's monitored with a limit time of 20 minutes per topic. I will start a timer, and if you reach your 3 minutes, I'll knock on the gavel, let you know that you're out of time, and I ask that you move off the middle here and let the next person come up. Sorry, doing 2 things at once isn't my specialty. My daughter will tell you that too. Alicia, did I see your name? I didn't. I'm sorry for assuming that you were here.
That's okay.
Emily, there you are.
Hello, I'm Emily Pruitt. I am a Portola resident, Portola High School graduate, and Columbus Unified School District school nurse, credentialed school nurse. My statement is in regards to the request for the extension for the audit report. I understand that the audit needs to be completed before we can submit it, which is why the extension is there. But I'd like to bring attention to the board and to the public that we have employees at every level within the school sites that are held to deadlines without the availability of extensions. And I'd just like to reinforce the need for holding our district personnel to the same public standards. It's very distressing that every extension is costing the school district more money when we're already in such a significant financial deficit, and that our last audit report was just submitted to the state 14 months overdue from the deadline. As a nurse, extensions are not an option for a deadline. I've heard that the reason our business office is behind on our audits is because of COVID and the Dixie fire. But I have yet to see a school site that did not meet their deadlines because of those excuses. Our teachers still have to get their grades in on time. Our special education individualized assessment plans need to be met with federal guidelines as well. As a nurse during COVID and the Dixie fire, I still had multiple reports to the state that I had to submit on time without an extension available. I'm requesting that our business office is held to the same professional standards that our certificated and classified staff are excelling at on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stuart Clark.
Thank you very much for taking the time. Especially a teacher at the high school. And I get to serve as vice president. So that's why you didn't see Alicia's name.
Okay.
It's my turn. I think we're really clear. Two things need to happen. We need accurate data. All of us need accurate data. Timely or not doesn't affect the need for accuracy. There is an immediate need as well. That's one issue. The other is, why is this such an urgent issue right now? That's about accountability. I want to encourage you not to lose both threads. And to encourage you. I see what you're doing, and I believe what you're doing is separating the two issues and saying we will deal with each of them.
Mhm.
Please do. It's essential.
Mhm.
We have to tell the truth. We first have to know it, and then we must speak it, and we must live it. That's what education really is. Let's be real. We pay money to send kids to school so that they are ready to contribute now.
Mhm.
If we leave them the example of saying it's okay to mess up and not be held accountable and not review and make changes, we doom them to this experience. You have a chance. Please do both. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Did you want an opportunity?
I do.
Go ahead.
Good people. I apologize to Chelsea and Cindy because they don't know what I'm about to say here. I submitted my resignation to the governing board last week, and my last day will be next Wednesday, April 2nd. I have given a lot of my heart and soul to this district. But right now, I need to prioritize my health and reconnect to a life that provides me peace. I know that this district will overcome the challenges and that you all will continue to provide first-rate, excellent education that you have provided throughout the years I've been on this board. I have seen so many kids grow and blossom and thrive and go out into the world because of all of you. So thank you for that. Lastly, I urge you to listen first, seek to understand, and in all things act with kindness, compassion, and trust. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any more public input? All right, we will move on to the fiscal report, and Jim, I think you're leading this one.
Yes, I was asked to put this on the agenda both by FICMAT, Mike Fine from FICMAT, and our advisor, Robert Shinwell, to put on for extension. We are not ready for this audit yet, and to not get an extension would be, we'd have to pay for it twice, so something we can't afford to do. So I recommend to the board that we allow them to work with the state to come up with an appropriate extension time so the audit can be completed accurately.
Okay.
And we are in the midst of some personnel changes in our business office on the county side. I would allow our county superintendent to talk about that later, but we will be having new BCBO coming in tomorrow to expedite those things and try to get us back really on track.
That's good news. All right. So we are being asked to take board approval to submit a request to the SCO and SSPI for an extension of the deadline for the PCOE PUSD 2023-24 audit deadline. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
Just to make it clear, Jim, because I was still a little bit frazzled. The state is requesting this from us. You did say that.
Our advisors
Our
are
advisors
requesting,
request.
yes.
Leslie, I have an email from Mike Fine, and actually
Yeah.
Darlene has it printed out.
I
If we
did
get
as well.
a
Right.
motion in a second, I would ask that that be read as discussion for this meeting.
I agree.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jolene.
So, I'm gonna read some parts, of an email that was actually from Mike Fine, who's, with the fiscal crisis and management assistance team with the state. Let's see where I should put this up. It says, I believe full transparency is important and appreciate the district following through and placing the item on their board agenda. The district has an existing extension through March, but the audit is not complete, thus a request for an additional up to 60 days is reasonable. I certainly hope it will not take the full 60 days to complete. At the same time, without the audit, we're not able to validate the district's beginning fund balance or liabilities, both of which play into the deficit calculation and the need and sizing of the emergency advance apportionment. On-time audits are an essential best practice. The district contracts with a very reputable and respected school audit firm. And as I understand it, the delay is due to the district not providing all the necessary data and information to the auditors. New staff is starting, which is what Jim just said, at the district this week, making progress toward a completed audit must be one of their highest priorities. The audit was due on December 15th. The extension does not excuse the tardiness of the audit. It is late no matter what. The extension provides authority for the state controller to receive the audit late. Without the extension, the audit would not be accepted. The alternative to an extension is for the state superintendent or state controller to order a new audit, which would start from the beginning. It would take several months to put a new auditor under contract and then wait until the new auditor proceeds through the full audit process. As such, it's likely we would not see the replacement audit until late in the calendar year, almost a year late. Plus, the state would bill the district for the costs, essentially putting the district in a position of paying twice. Providing an extension for the audit that is already underway is by far the most expeditious option. The other alternative is for the auditor to issue an incomplete audit and issue no opinion on the financial statements. This does not assist us in validating the beginning fund balance or determining liabilities.
Thanks, Jolene. We have a first, we have a second. Do we need to have any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? It passes. Jim, you're also leading the second interim financial report.
There we go.
That one, and then this can go.
Like everybody to know that I'm presenting this tonight. I am not a CBO. I can answer most questions, but maybe not all. This is a second interim report, and frankly, there's not a whole heck of a lot changed from the first interim report. It's because most of the data was derived, you know, from the budget and the first interim report, and not many changes have been made. I mean, we've had some savings from kind of controlling our spending a little bit, but other than that, the budget was the budget, and you know, the people we employ are the people we employ, and the numbers are the numbers. And so as we go through this, what you're gonna find is, in the end, that the same fiscal issues troubling the district are still there. If we could go to the first slide, and some of this stuff you already know, I don't want to be preaching to the choir, but this is the budget cycle, reporting cycle. And here we are in second interim, financial report. Interim reports are really kind of pick up red flags if, you know, your budget is going south or going sideways, and we have red flags. I mean, we have plenty of them. And so, as we go through the interim report, now, I think this is important information for everybody to know here, the board and all our audience here. This Mike Fine from FICMAT is going to attend our April 9th board meeting. He will have a much more detailed and up-to-date report on our financial status. And he will have kind of a layout of next steps as we move forward. So that is really a heck of a lot more important than what I'm going to share with you tonight, which is kind of the same stuff we had on the first fiscal, first interim report. So that's important for all of you that care about us so much, that to be there and to listen to our leader from FICMAT. So if we can go.
Jim, just to be clear, we're looking at the Office of Ed report first, right?
What's that?
We're looking at the report for the Office of Education first.
Both.
Right, but that's the one that we're sharing right now?
Yes, so we're gonna start with the Office of Ed, but we'll lay out kind of both of them. Because
I just wanted to be
actually,
clear because you mentioned about having multiple red flags and for the Office of Ed,
there are some red flags with the Office of Ed, so
but
we
it's
need,
not this,
we need
not
to-
in the
we-
same ballpark.
yeah, not in the same ballpark, not close. Second interim certification. County office will have a positive certification, but I'm gonna go over some issues there. There's three things you can have here in an interim report. A positive certification, which means everything's great. Qualified certification means everything's kind of great right now, kind of looking down the future, if some adjustments aren't made, then you're gonna have problems. And the third is a negative certification. PCOE will have a positive certification. PUSD will have the same negative certification we had on the first interim report. So if we could move to the next slide. You know, these are our strategic goals. You see them printed all over. Very important. Kids graduating from high school, academics, retaining talented and good staff, which is very important. Engagement of our community and families, and having school facilities that are up to date and good learning environments for our children. So if we could go to the next. These are the county supported programs right there. Most of you are familiar with them. There's a whole bunch. I would point out that and a tip of the hat to our county office. Career and technical education, the county office supports 44 sections of career tech at our high schools. And that is because when LCFF came in, they folded up ROP funding and they put it into LCFF. And county offices had the choice of either keeping it for themselves or redistributing that same amount back to the high schools. This county office did the right thing and put it back to the high schools. Where I come from, the county office did the wrong thing and kept the money and ended all those programs, which was pretty tragic. So all of this are things that our county supports and does. And because we are a single, I observe wonderful cooperation here between the two agencies. So if we could move on. But here is something that is a bit of a red flag. It's not panic time. It's not horrible. But I want you to realize the most important thing about this is the county office is positive because they started out with a really good starting balance or ending balance, a reserve of about 5 million. But if you look at this, across the bottom, this 831, 1125, 970. You gotta add those up across. You gotta add those up. And what you're seeing is that $5 million balance is starting to erode. And those things can erode fast and get out of control unless something is done about them. So that is a bit of a red flag, but as of now, we are still positive. And that's what these interim reports are for, really, to understand that kind of thing. Key considerations for PCOE, to me, the biggest one of those, and at least you kind of kept me apprised, is that secure rural schools for this county. I think I read we're like the second largest collector in the United States of secure rural schools funding. It means about 1.4 million for the county office and about almost $1 million for the district. So if those funds aren't approved, and thank goodness they've been approved for 25, 26, but those lately have been on the block. I mean, there's a lot of people that are after those to end that. Most of these other things are much smaller than that, and all that kind of thing. So those are kind of where we are with PCOE considerations and where we are with second interim for them. Here is the problem. I didn't realize that when I signed on for this, that this was out there. And so this has really just something that I hope, because I'm way more than half of my tenure here, but I hope you good people, and I've really grown to like you folks, that we can work together to solve these problems. And again, you have to read these accurately. You have to take these total numbers in each of the rows, 5.712, 2.877, 2.490, you have to add those across. Just off the top is about $10 million. With that, it is my personal opinion, as I've seen this, it is my personal opinion that there is no way that we can avoid getting a state loan. And getting a state loan will, and I don't know when that will happen. If it happened the next month, I'd be gone and a new administrator would come in, as I understand it. And that's just the way this is gonna roll. At some point, Mike Fine will be able to talk about that with a lot more authority than I can, really. I've never been through this kind of situation before. So, you know, we have all sorts of things. We've shifted from LCFF to basic aid. We've had, what we really have had is kind of a little ongoing deficit spending, and we've had some interfund borrowing that has gone on, and all of this. And for a while, it just kind of looked like a little bit of a shell game, honestly, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. And we end up in this situation where we are. I am going to bring, you know, it's interesting. We researched back to, I think Patty was at about mid-1990s, that a regular housekeeping tool of this district was to approve a resolution, they've done it every year faithfully, that allowed the superintendent or designee to transfer funds at their discretion. I think that's a bad policy, and I'm going to recommend to the board that we rescind that resolution so that the board is made aware of any budget transfers so they can raise their own red flags about how those funds will be paid back. It's not unusual for districts to do fund transfers, but there needs to be a plan of how they're going to pay back instead of like putting things like on a credit card. You know, and that's a little bit kind of what's happened here. So,
Jim, these numbers do not include the cuts we just made. I want to
No.
make that clear.
yeah, they do not make, there's no, the cuts have not yet taken effect. Nothing will be in the budget until any cuts that we made will take effect. So the numbers will look a little brighter, probably at first interim next year. That's probably the first time they're gonna look a little brighter. There's gonna be a third interim report in May when it comes out. So, basic aid is kind of an odd duck in a way because you're tied to the local tax revenue funding. But normally under Prop 13, it does go up every year. And, you know, the only thing I could tell you, and again, this is just my own personal thing. What's gonna happen if the state makes a loan is that the budget will have to be cut enough so that we're not deficit spending, but also to be able to service that loan debt in there. And like any loan, it's maybe like I bought my first house. I was house poor for a couple of years, you know, making the payments, but as my income went up, that became less and less stressful on the income, and I'm hoping a similar scenario happens here, where it won't be that big a deal after we live 3 or 4 years through this, but that's just my opinion. So, anyway, we have to continue looking for all the funding we can get. We have to look at our staffing levels. Basically, we have to balance the budget, and that's what our state people will come in to do. They will be here to make the adjustments. I think Robert Shamwell, when we were over at the meeting over at Quincy High School in the cafeterias, he used the term right sizing the district. I don't know exactly what that means, but that term means will be less than what we're spending now, certainly. So if we can go on to the next slide, consideration of for future years, we need to obviously look at property taxes. You know, the one thing about basic aid, good or bad, I think there's both sides of the story, is your income is no longer really hooked to your enrollment. The income is what it is. And so income is just what the tax, portion of the tax going to K-12 education. We've got to keep monitoring our budget. We have to make sure that we can cover STRS and PERS and our OPEB liability, which is for retiree benefits kind of thing. They require you to keep a certain reserve for that. And maintain our staffing needs. And special education funding is never been what it's supposed to be. The feds have never come through with the amount of special education funding they originally promised in IDEA. They promised 40%. They've been hovering between the 12 and 17% area all the time. They've been really ripping off special education children, in my mind. That's Jim's opinion again. And so managing that maintenance of effort and maintaining special ed spending is an important thing. So that's all I have for you tonight. It's a negative certification, and there is going to be a process that will be unfolding. And I hope we can all be a part and have a good outcome.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you said we have a new CBO coming in next week,
Well,
tomorrow. Okay, where are we getting the extra money for that?
we are actually going to spend some money to hopefully save some money and have better information. And there are some adjustments, but I will let in the staffing levels. And I'll let Andrea explain that because I'm not accounting.
And that is a county funded position.
Right.
So did our CBO leave?
Jim, just a point of board order. This isn't an item that's on the agenda, so we
Right,
really should be
yeah.
discussing the special meeting. Happy to answer questions later.
So
Just want to keep us online for.
it is somebody though who FICMAT recommended, and our advisor and FICMAT both are applauding us for moving in this direction.
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier about all the red flags, you know, that. Well, the gentleman from the state, I don't remember if it was Mike Fine over at,
Robert Schimmel.
okay. He mentioned that this is not a new problem, it's been happening for years.
Yes.
And so my question is, who was supposed to notice these red flags and why wasn't it noticed and something done about it way before we had to lay off? Way before it started affecting the students and the teachers. That I want to know that as a board member.
I understand you wanting to know that, and I think there's plenty of finger pointing to go around. Quite honestly, I'm always a believer that the way this system is supposed to work is that the board hires a superintendent, and the superintendent is supposed to manage the district. Boards and superintendents go sideways quite a bit of the time. But in this particular case, it was kind of a perfect storm of things being done. I think that the board was not fully aware. I think that, like I said, there was kind of a shell game being done that we can borrow from this fund and this side and move stuff around and pay it back just in time so it doesn't look bad on an audit, and all of that went along. But I don't know the history, but Mike Fine will certainly probably define that for us a little better.
I do believe we'll get some clarity, Cindy.
Okay, I had
More
one more
misconception,
question.
but-
Sure.
Okay, here's my other question. And I'm asking because I get emails from people asking about it. One is that the county or the district has purchased some real property. I think it's a duplex or a fourplex for, I think it was 700 and some thousand. Why can't that be sold and that would save how many teachers?
That's a great idea, and it very well could be something we really go down.
Is that my?
No, I mean, it's about why we're.
Yeah,
It's
and so that's one of my questions. My other question is, I'm trying to put this nicely, but,
just say.
and I don't know if this is the truth or not, but somebody pulled up, they go to some teacher's site and it tells the salaries of district of employees and stuff. And on the last one, it showed like from 2015 till now. It showed last year that Mallory received a $70,000 raise. Now, again, there goes the whole teacher, because I have never, in all my years of being a nurse, I've never even seen a doctor get a $70,000 a year raise. Now, somebody that has got us, somebody that should have known better has brought us into this, a business officer. I'm sure if Jody did that for the hospital, we would be closed. And so my question is, what the heck? I look at all these salaries for the district, janitors making $100,000 a year. Come on. Where's the oversight?
Well,
That's and that is the question of all my community members.
So you have to be really, and I agree with you, there's information that you can look up, it's on,
I don't know what site it is, they just send it to me.
California, and there's a lot of information. What you often don't see, and you have to dig in a little deeper, is did people change positions? Don't just watch names. Did they change positions? That will help with some of that, because no one was given a $70,000 bonus to stay in the same job. I can tell you that. It was a change in positions. So that answers part of that. The other part is you have to also be careful that you're mixing funds. So a $70,000 thing over here at Office of Ed does not necessarily save teachers on the PUSD side.
Right,
So just keep, it's hard to do, but you have to, because we're single, so it feels like we're all one, and in a way we are, You cannot, you can't.
I understand that, but either way, I have never seen
The other thing.
somebody go from that amount of money
I
to
haven't,
this.
somebody changes positions, if you go.
Oh, I came from
a-
another city where I made a lot
I'm
more than I
saying
made up
If
here.
you are a support staff and you go to the chairperson, that's a big difference, and it's a big difference in responsibility and everything else. But the other thing that, just as a new board member, I'll encourage you to look at is check on that same site what other districts are paying for the same positions. And we struggle all the time to keep the best and the brightest here. And we've done that. You can see that in the increase that was given to teachers, 2 years ago. We researched it, we found out what does it cost to bring a good teacher here and keep them here. And we voted in, we accepted through negotiations and a sizable raise for that reason, because we realized we weren't competitive. If we want the best and the brightest, we have to pay what it takes to get them here.
So you think the
I'm not.
chief
I'm not
business
talking about
officer
it
is the
specific-
best
no,
and the
I'm not-
brightest?
No, I'm not,
Yeah, that's
I'm
not
just
part of
making a general statement. I'm not talking about one person.
Right.
We can't talk about one person.
We can't.
Right,
It's that's a confidential discussion that we can have in closed session when personnel items need to be discussed. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of things to take into consideration when you're looking at that information. And without the details of that, it could be alarming. But if you understand the details, it makes a lot more sense.
Lisa, if you want to make public comment about. these two items,
I do
I'll-
want to make a comment about something that was said.
Sure.
Although PCOE and PUSD are separate in many ways, PCOE employees also bill back to PUSD parts of their salaries. That also included the CBO and HR directors. I think about 80 to 90% of their total salaries were billed back to PUSD.
Thank you for your comment.
I do not have a comment, just, it's kind of to back up what Cindy said, but our current CBO has been in her position for a few years, and she did not quite, I don't remember seeing a $70,000 raise, but she did get a $30,000 raise in 1 year. And I think that that has stirred up a lot of questions and a lot of angry feelings with the position that the district is in now. Knowing that, yes, we teachers got a raise a few years ago, but we also know that the district office, they took that same raise as well.
Thank you.
So, just so that that's out there.
I'd also like to reiterate that that raise matched COLA projected from the state for that year. So it wasn't that we were making above and beyond the increase of the cost of living adjustment for that year. I'd also like to offer the suggestion, I do understand we are not competitive, and it is difficult to keep the best and the brightest here. Our salary schedule requires 10 extra years to meet the maximum for our certificated staff. And that is with a PhD or 60, 75 units above and beyond a bachelor's degree and a credential. And to answer the situation that I believe Shannon's speaking to, our CBO was in an interim position. And yes, those salaries are not comparable to what other CBOs and other districts make, but I'd like to compare what the qualifications are for those other positions, and ours did not meet that. So there are a lot more factors at play than just comparing us to other districts and trying to keep the best and the brightest, because we are trying to do that with our staff at every level. And it has been an ongoing challenge, and that 13% that everyone keeps going back to was the cost of living adjustment as issued by the government for that year. It was not above and beyond.
Thank you, Emily, for your comments. All right, for the sake of, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just one. Are we forecasting how much money the state's gonna attempt to take back because of the next audit findings? And how much money have they taken back because of previous audit findings?
Jim, can you answer that, or do we need to, that's a great question. Do we need to get back?
There was a time when, the state gave us a preliminary funding, to the district. it was based on projected enrollment, and that projected enrollment didn't come. We had lowered, and so there was some adjustment to that based on enrollment.
No, so if. When you're audited, right,
Right.
they look for unduplicated, they look for free and reduced meals, and the state adjusts how much money they give the district by where the kids sit in that equation, right? So if the audit finds that the paperwork is not correct for free and reduced, for unduplicated, then the state will say, even though you claimed this is your unduplicated,
Right.
we're taking that money back now.
The only thing I can tell you on that is that on any of our audits, we've had no material findings. The audits had no material findings. They had some stuff that, procedures, that were probably not up to accounting standards. Usually, audits, several districts have problems like with student body accounts and small things like that, but ours had no material findings.
So the last audit, right, that you guys approved a month ago, said 20 of 20 could not be proven that they fit under unduplicated.
Right, so, but they declared that as not a material finding, but I don't know, so I really can't answer your question.
Let me commit to trying to get a better answer for you, more of a complete answer, not that
Yeah.
Jim's answer was bad,
And I'll
but
try
more
to
of a
get
complete
you an
answer.
answer.
All right, moving us along,
Sorry.
please,
May I ask when the last positive certification was received? June 2024. And so in just the next interim was negative.
correct.
That's just a couple of months, correct?
All right, for PCOE, it is information only. For PUSD, there is a recommendation to request for approval for the second interim financial report is presented. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I will move to approve.
I'll second.
First and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion passes. For our future agenda items, we have a PCOE PUSD regular joint governing board meeting scheduled for April 9th at CRC cafeteria in Portola at 4 p.m. I think our agenda will be similar to how it's been, where we'll go into closed session first and then open session, but please read the agenda. Don't quote me on that. Read the agenda, make sure it reads that way. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the PCOE PUSD special governing board meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Meeting adjourned.
Is that online?
Yes, I believe it is, but we can get you a copy.
Okay. Okay, thank you. It's easier to record.
Right.
I guess it's going on. Right, no, like, I don't know. Parents are.
Thank you guys. Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming. Miss Patty, are we still live? Okay. Sorry.
I've seen where it's